Hi buddy, it's Paul here again from Ballistic Blood Bullets, and it is Halloween time, and time to spend Halloween with Heavy Metal Real, aka Richard. Richard, great guy, as everybody who is familiar with the horror community YouTube channels. Real great guy. Everybody knows him, everybody loves him, and he's just a real, genuine, down-to-earth, big fun, larger-than-life character. And Richard, thank you very much for your channel and all the fun that you bring. It's always a pleasure to check your channel out and spend that little bit of time with you. It's really always good fun. Anybody who doesn't know Richard, aka Heavy Metal Real, why don't you know who he is? Go and check him out straight away. But anybody who is checking out my video here, maybe for the first time or fairly new to this channel, my highest recommendation is to pop on over now to see Richard at Heavy Metal Real. I'll leave his link below. Richard is very kindly running a seasonal competition. And of course, during the month of October, it is Halloween. And Richard's asked us what we like to do during Halloween. And he's also asked us what we'll be watching and some recommendations for the horror season. So let's get right on in there, and let's start with what I'll be watching. It's for me. Well, actually, before I say what I'm watching, he's asked us what we do during Halloween. For me, it's really all about the movies, which really is what most people will say. I'm not a huge fan of the sort of traditions of Halloween per se. All the trick and treating and going out. I tend to be one of these people that turns the light off and hides away from the little lovelies that come around asking for the goodies. It seems to be that the tradition side of it is sort of not always there. It's huge in the States, and that's fantastic. But in the UK, it tends to be sort of almost like a hit and run, and more tricks than treats, to be honest with you, just for the sake of it. But there we are. It is for me really all about the movies, and spending that long weekend watching horror films, the old black and white classics, some new ones, some films from the 80s, some from the 50s. All that sort of thing is really, for me, what Halloween's about. Growing up with horror from a young age, particularly, it's always stayed with me. And the fun of seeing horror, it's like a friend. It's like a comfortable glove that fits so well. And that for me really is a big treat in Halloween, to be able to have a real reason that you can sit down and revisit some of these fantastic horror films. And on that note, amongst the films that I definitely will be watching is, of course, the classic The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing. The reworking from the old classic Thing from Another World, but this one is absolutely brilliant, as we all know. And most definitely a film that I like to revisit every now and again. And having just recently picked up this Blu-ray of the film, it's going to be brilliant to watch it in high definition, to hang out with McCready in Blu-ray, see all those wonderful special effects come to life on a large screen TV at home in the warmth over the weekend, rewatching The Thing. So that's high on the list to watch. And another, again, a classic, and going to Hammer Horror and The Plague of the Zombies. Now this is one that scared the hell out of me when I was a young guy, and even now that opening sequence of the zombie coming out of the Cornish mine holding the maiden, as we see here, and throwing her down off of a hilly precipice. And it really just was evoking everything to do with zombies. And it was a zombie fest from there on in, because just had to watch more and more of these really terrifying creatures come back from the dead. But this from Hammer Horror, The Plague of the Zombies, is a very, very, very cool film indeed, and definitely a movie that I like to revisit. So that is going to be high on the agenda as well to watch over the Halloween period. Hammer Horror's Plague of the Zombies. Okay, now Richard's asked us to provide, or come up with should I say, some titles that we'll be not necessarily watching, but films that we can recommend. So again, with pleasure, hopefully throw in a few titles here that some of you guys may not be aware of, some of you may have forgotten about or wanted to know a bit more about, and most importantly for Richard. So let's start off with a Russian film, no less, and that is The V, or The Vi, V-I-Y. Absolutely wonderful film. Really is one of those almost golden age classics. It's from the 60s, and it's a wonderful, wonderful story, a fantastical fable. The movie is being remade at the moment, and they're spending so much time getting the special effects right, apparently, that the film has been in production for about 3 years now. So really am desperately wanting for the remake or reworking, re-envisaging to come out sooner rather than later. We're looking at some ghostly images and fantastical creatures here, and also what we're looking at is the guy in the centre there. He's actually tasked with spending the night in this creepy old sort of run-down mill, and he has to face up to all these horrific images and ghostly visages that come to visit him, and he has to survive the night. It's the classic old horror story, but this is, as I say, from the Russian fantasy lore and fable. And the guy, he encircles himself with a mystical sort of protective circle on the floor that keeps out the spirits, and as long as he doesn't step outside of that circle, he will be protected and he will not fall victim to these visitations. But of course the visitations are there to try and trick him out of his safety encirclement, and so ensues a night of ghostly goings on in the V, or the Vi as I say. So this is definitely of the highest recommendation. Anybody not having seen this, do track it down and pick it up. I suspect that even though the remaking will be a wonderful film, it's going to be hard to match the wonder of this original Russian fantasy feature film. But there we are, that's the V. Next recommendation, a little bit more action orientated, but horror elements, sci-fi elements, and that is with Christopher Lambert in Beowulf. And this is, we all know the classic tale of Beowulf. This is a more, as I say, action orientated take on the legend. And it also features Rona Mitri, the gorgeous Rona Mitri. And as you'll probably recognise here from the pictures, this is no ordinary telling of Beowulf. This is a futuristic take on the movie, and it is wonderful stuff. And this is one I'm going to be watching over the the week of Halloween, definitely to revisit. Big fan of Christopher Lambert, and this is a real big fun film. Monsters, swords, babes, heroes, villains, all sorts of eerie goings on. It mostly takes place at night, and Christopher Lambert is on top of his game here in this late 80s entry. Real big fun, very much as it says here, an extreme mix of Highlander, Dragon Slayer and Mortal Kombat, and it is very, very entertaining stuff indeed. Christopher Lambert, Rona Mitri, Beowulf, something different, but it really is entertaining. Okay, third recommendation is going to the strong extremes, and this is Japanese gore, terror, creepiness at the highest. The Neighbour Number 13. This really is a quite eerie movie, and it's a fall into madness and extremes of nastiness on occasion. And it follows this young guy here who has this counterpart, alter ego, almost split personality, that is the extreme of what he is, and it comes out to play, but not in the nice way. He is a killer extraordinaire and a real nasty, violent piece of work, and this really is the extreme side of Japanese chiller, thriller, killer movies. Very bloody in places, quite unpleasant, quite startling as well, and the end payoff is extremely well done. So this is definitely Asian cinema, cutting edge Asian cinema, very much worth seeking out and giving it a try if you've not seen it. Not for the faint of heart or the weak of stomach, and if you can find the director's cut, it's well worth seeking out. And it even has a cameo from the legendary Japanese extreme filmmaker Takashi Miike. So there we are. That is The Neighbour Number 13. And those are my recommendations for Richard, aka Heavy Metal Real. And Richard, as I say, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to know you. Keep going. Keep the fun coming on your channel. Really is. He's a good guy, very good guy, and it's a pleasure to know you, Richard. So please do just keep being you, and as I say, keep the channel going. We very much enjoy watching your channel. So there we are. Those are my recommendations, my classic revisits for Halloween, and just wishing you all a very happy and enjoyable Halloween time, and a big thank you to Richard for hosting this fabulous competition for some absolutely fantastic prizes. I forgot to mention that. Most important, he's getting some prizes that are just so cool, and I understand that they will be personalised. Something very, very special for any collector and fan of movies. So definitely worth entering. Get your entry in, show Richard some love, spend some time, express your Halloween loves and likes, and have a good time with it. Thanks very much indeed, Richard. Take care. Thanks everybody for watching. See you all soon. Bye for now.